Hey class, that concludes our section on tax strategies. However, before we continue on to the last section, I do want to take a few minutes to walk through with you the part C of your tax story. I absolutely feel like this is a vital opportunity for you to now start soaking in a lot of this information and these strategies that we've been talking about and start applying them to you. If you remember, in our course promise, we want you to be able to understand, which we've been doing a lot of teaching to try to understand. We want you to be able to see, is what we're going to do right now, and we want you to be able to act. So to be able to see these tax strategies, I want to make sure I give you a little bit more commentary on what you should be seeing inside of this part C of your tax story. So I'm going to shoot back up on the screen the example of Bill and Janet and their tax story that we've been talking about so far in this class, and give you a little bit more commentary. The first row, the IRA contributions, you'll notice that in their working years, we selected yes and put in max allowed. The reason being is to be able to contribute to your IRA or Roth IRA for that matter, you can only contribute with taxable income. Only in their working years can they even contribute to their IRA or Roth IRA. That's why you see a no and a no on the check marks for their Social Security start years and their RMD years, because they actually can't contribute new dollars into that account. We did put max contributions because they are in the 12% bracket, and if they get a match, we want to make sure that they maximize the match that's coming from their employers. And so that's why that's a maximum allowed as they accumulate inside of their tax deferred accounts. On to the next row, the Roth IRA contributions. We didn't necessarily feel like it was important for them to contribute to the Roth because they're maximizing their IRA and they're doing some Roth conversions in that year. However, if you are in a lower bracket now and see that you're going to be in a higher bracket later, absolutely it might make sense to contribute to your Roth IRA, paying the lower bracket now and avoiding the higher brackets later. In the next row, Roth IRA conversions, we spent a lot of time in this last section talking about this, so I won't go too much into it. Keep in mind, we'd much rather pay our taxes in the lowest brackets possible. So that's why this $2,400 a year and $48,000 is maximizing those lower brackets, and you don't see any conversions happening into their RMD years because they're going to be in a higher bracket. Below that, you'll see in-kind donations. For Bill and Janet, it didn't necessarily make sense for them to donate in-kind donations because they didn't have any brokerage accounts or non-retirement accounts that had appreciated assets inside of them. Same thing is applicable with the donor advised fund. Both of them were employees, not business owners, and they didn't anticipate having a larger than normal income year in any of their tax story. In the last row, you'll see those qualified charitable distributions. Again, reminder that those are not an option until you turn 70 and a half, and they come from a tax deferred account like an IRA. For Bill and Janet, it was absolutely a good strategy for them once they turned 70 because they wanted to continue to donate that $10,000 donation to their charity into retirement. Well, I hope that this gives you a little bit more clarity into you filling out your tax story. Please don't skip this step because this is where it really becomes actionable for you inside of your plan, that as we move into the next section and talk about impact and next steps, we want this to become really real for you so you can move forward and make some improvements. We will see you in the next section.